Well, today's project, I got a new camera, trying out the GoPros. So we're gonna fix this power steering pump here on my beautiful 2004 Jeep Grand Cherokee. And I finally got my brand new engine installed and running and not leaking and all that jazz. Thing does look amazing. I love this thing, but that does not sound amazing. So that's the issue right there. Power steering pump. That's what a bad one sounds like. So I'm letting it warm up a little bit just so I can have some warm thing to work my hands on. This is going to be freezing. So there's our new pump. We're going to get this put on there just a little bit. Open up the shop for business. Someday I'll have someplace warm to work. Didn't really check this very much. Probably should. A little low. Not bad. Tiny bit low. Clean though. Yeah. Probably throw some Lucas in there. Tranny stabilizer's good for a transmission with 140,000 miles on it. Not a bad idea. Must have some heat coming because I just heard the auto fan kick up the high. Set things to auto in here and it works pretty nice. Okay, so we got the Jeep warmed up here. So I don't have to worry about working on stuff that's cold as much as I can. I'm gonna take the belt off and I need to drain this reservoir. Yeah, that is nasty. It's all brand new fluid, but it's foaming it like crazy in there, probably because that pump is shot. So I gotta pull the cap off, go underneath here, and release this line. Let's see here. Where are we? Oh yeah, okay. It's just a clamp. That's all it is. Okay. Spring clamp. Pull this line right here off of there. There's a spring clamp up here. Squeeze it. Pull this line down. And drain it. Probably make a mess, but we'll see. Majority of it. Yeah, looks like most of it at least. There's going to be another line here. This line here has to come off too and goes to the fan. And yeah, this line here, which comes off the back of the reservoir, we'll see when we get to that. This line here has a threaded fitting on the end of it. Over here is our release for our serpentine belt. We're going to get that off. Next, got 15 millimeter, I believe, on this wrench. Yep, 15 millimeter. Loosen our belt and pop it off. Of course, that tensioner now gonna hit something. Hold it here so I can get. I'm gonna grab this belt and just pull tension if I can. Of course, it's not gonna work that well. Come on, hook on something there. There we go. So I can get my there. Lay that up there. Retrieve my cap. Okay. So now this pump here has 3 bolts, I believe. 1, 2, and there's a third one down there. Got to get at them through the spaces in there. I'm going to remove this line at the top first because that's going to require some tension. Let's see here. What size do we got? Oh, it's bigger than that, huh? She's pretty big. Bigger than a 19. Could be a 3/4. Most of these manufacturers like to mix and match. Nope. Not 3/4. Use standard on most of your metrics. That's a little too large. Yeah. Sockets work better for using standards on metrics than open-end wrenches. Especially when they're really, really tight, like this one is. But I think that's what I'm gonna have to do. Not 3/4, not 7/8. I do have the line wrenches in metric or in standards. I don't have them in this big a metric though, so I think I'm gonna be able to get anything on there. I prefer to use a line wrench. Gives you better grip. There we go. Could take this upper radiator hose off and it would give me more access, but it would also require the bleeding of the antifreeze radiator system, re-bleeding it. And it's kind of a pain on these. I did it when I put this all together, but the radiator, if you look over here, your cap is actually lower than this point. This is where you got to bleed it at. So when you fill it up with antifreeze right here, it doesn't fill all the way up to this neck. So you actually have to fill this up, cap it, open that up, put a funnel on there, fill that up. Now, so if I were to pull this off, it would just drain the stuff out of this upper tube, But when I put it back on, I had to pull that bleeder up a little ways, run the car, and let it bleed the air out. And it's just kind of a pain, so I'm not going to do that. There's our fitting. Okay, so it wasn't what I thought it was. That's not a pipe. That is the long fitting. It's got O-rings down here. Make sure to keep that all nice and clean. There's very little room, as you can see, on the front end of this engine. So, hook this somewhere out of our way. And now we can get a wrench in here, socket, and socket in here, between here, and start loosening up these bolts that hold the pump in place. See, I'm pretty sure there's 3. We'll see. And then that other rubber line that's down here, I'm hoping I can just pull the pump, get it out away, and I'll be able to tip it over and see the connection for that other rubber line. Of course, all this would have been nice to do when I was changing out this engine when I had it out, but I had no idea that this pump was bad because I bought this with a completely locked up engine. It had destroyed a piston and it wouldn't even turn. I had to actually pull the oil pan off and get the pieces of piston out of there so I could roll it over enough to get all the flywheel bolts out. So you have to turn it around to get at all those flywheel bolts to unbolt them from the torque converter. So let's see here. There's our third bolt's down on the bottom down there. We can't see it from up here. I happen to know it's there because I put this pump on this block, obviously with it out, so I know where all the bolts are. But there's a third bolt down on the bottom. So if you're struggling to do this, you don't know, can't find that thing, that's where it's at. You can just move that hole down there and the pulley down to that point. Feel around in there with your socket and you will find it. It doesn't take much to get them started. Just back them off a little bit, then they're pretty much finger loose. See, the whole thing's loose now. I'm going to take that bottom bolt out first before I loosen the top one completely. That way it's not like falling on me when I take this bottom bolt out of here. Onto it. Take this top one out. That's the one I left partially in. There we are. That is loose. Okay. Now the only thing I gotta do is pull this upper line off of here. It's got a factory crimp clamp on it, so I'm going to have to snip that, and I'll put a hose clamp on it. What's up, bud? Nothing? No sign of Bob? Oh. Okay. There we go. So I just clipped that clamp. It's all greasy and whatnot. Just pull that hose off of there. And now this should lower out the bottom. Like that. That's how you get her out. I don't know if you can see that, but she comes down this way. Get the last of this nasty fluid out of here, which is weird that it's so nasty considering it's about at least 50% brand new fluid. But okay, we got to work on getting this guy right here off of here. We got to take this off right here, and that you need a power steering pump puller for. So here is our brand new oil pump right here. There we go. Comes with some things. Comes with new seals. New seals in there. There's the new pump right there. Caps on everything. Put the new housing on it. Put some new seals in it. Comes with a bolt in here for some reason. Bolt nut and a washer. Alright, so let's see here. Puller. We got a puller in here. Expertly cataloged in here somewhere. Oh yeah. There we go. There we go. So this is a alright, fine. Put it on this way with the bigger lips inside. Yeah. Apparently. Just don't see that working though. Well, it might. I don't see it working. Ah, dang it. Cracked my pulley because my dead blow's broken. Hit that edge. Probably have another one around here. No, come here. See, this is This is the way it should typically fit, and that should hold it tight enough. But it isn't on this one, probably because it's super rusted in place. Just pulling right past it. Yeah. And because my puller's cheap, probably, it's not holding it tight. Hopefully that pulley is still going to work, even though it's a little cracked. There we go. Get that guy on there. There we go. Haha, now we're gonna be talking. Now we're gonna work. Tia, we're gonna work now. Now she's on there tight. Now let's see what we can do. Maybe. Yeah, now she's pulling off. There we go. Of course. There we go. Pulley's off. Yes, the phenolic pulleys there. Not that durable. Don't like that. Don't know if there's another one around here. The older ones are metal, but new ones are not. Not quite as forgiving. So front marked on here. It's got to go to the front. We put it on our new one. Might. There's a clip here, top, clip bottom, locks it on, looks like, to me. And up here, gotta get underneath there, bend that tab up, top and bottom. That should release it, looks like. First time for everything. Right here, this tab. Right here, this tab. Come on up. Don't bend my screwdriver either. Really? How much more fluid could there be in here? Just when you think you get it all drained, it decides to puke out more, huh? Yep. Seriously. Are you done now? Are you? Good. Go. Just like that. Hold this up. Tap it until it catches the latch. Like that. Hold that up. Tap that. There we go. Now it's coming off. Looks like. Okay, well, my camera died, unfortunately. So I wanted to show this to you. Those parts that I was prying up right there and releasing, these are actually metal clips. Of course, you're gonna fall over for me. Those are metal clips, and they slide off the back side of this pump. So you slide both of those off the back side, and then this housing is gonna pull off the front side. So I'm gonna pop those off right now. Like I said, unfortunately, my camera died. Oh, yes, more power steering fluid. Right. This thing just won't quit leaking fluid. So I'm going to pop those off, and then I'll show you how that comes apart. Okay, camera's charged back up. I got myself a little food. We're going back to work here. Install this pulley. Looked around, didn't find a new one. Think it'll be fine even with the chip in it. This threads in to the pulley or to the pump. Make sure it's good and threaded in there though. This shaft doesn't actually have the threads on this, maybe less than stellar. Down like this. She's going on straight now. Usually they self-align pretty good. You just crank them down until they stop, because it's going to bottom out right here on this thing. It'll bottom out. We're not there yet. Do want to be careful with this because it does. This way it's this mallet pulley, so I want to wedge it somehow. wedging it on. Check it a couple of times here. Make sure it's... And we're not quite there yet. It should be, should go almost all the way down there, flush with it. Oof, she's getting tight. Power steering fluid. Old power steering fluid. There we go. That's as far as she's going to get right there. Take this off. This plug here. Take it out. Cap on while we feed it up through here. Come up from the bottom just like we went down from the top. Looks like there's still some nastiness in that power steering rack. I forgot to get a clamp. Hopefully I got one around. Clamp for that. This O-ring here, I believe, is going to fit on that pipe. A clamp, a clamp. Aha. That looks like what I'm after. Knew I had some around here. Doesn't have to be very tight or very hard clamping. It's just a return line anyways. So, not a big deal. Pre-tighten it. Get it close to the size we want. Sort of easier to tighten once we get it in place. We don't have to crank on it all that much. Yeah, I got new plates. You like it? I liked it too. So I was like, yeah. They're like, you want new plates? I was like, yeah, I do. Put this line up. I don't like where that clamp is at. I'm going to want the clamp down a little ways from the top of the hose, right on the top. Got a different screwdriver here. Let's see if I can get in there with the shorty. Get my hand in there, I think so. Yeah, there we go, that's better. Clamp's a little big for it, but it'll get the job done. It's not like hose clamps are highly technical. My spare Ziploc bags, use them for cataloging parts as I remove things from vehicles. And I tend to reuse them as much as I can. Back over here. Where were we? 12, 13, maybe 13, I can't remember now. Pull this up into place. Line it up. Stop. There. Get out of there. Get the gloves off so I can turn this by hand. Start, say they thread in fairly easily. It's the brand new block, so they should. I could get my air ratchet out and do these, but aluminum heads tend to be a little gentler on. Don't want to strip anything out, that's for sure. Annoyed with that, so I'm going to the air ratchet. They are all started by hand, so. Makes life easy. say, aluminum heads. I'm rather gentle on the threads. I don't want to strip those out in a brand new block. Let's get this belt on. Well, this is off because it'll actually make it easier to get the belt on. See, this doesn't have the diagram anymore. Now it's missing. Should have a diagram, but I have to look that up. Think I know. The last time I did this, I put this together, I also thought I knew, and I did not know. I put it on one way. And it was completely off. Because you can put this on a couple ways, actually. That sort of... My GoPro didn't die now. It's full, but the memory card's full. So, I lost some of that video there. Basically, I got this pump installed now. The serpentine belt, for those of you that don't want to have to look it up like I just did, again, it loops down in the middle on the top to the water pump. So right there between your air conditioning compressor and your alternator is where it loops to the middle. Runs around this, runs around your crank, comes up around your crank to the idler pulley, and then up to your tension pulley back up here. So that's how it goes. There's a couple of ways you can loop it, but if you do loop it the wrong way, it's just loose. It won't get tight. So that's how you got to do it there. I put fluid in the reservoir. I hooked that lower line up on the bottom, right, put the spring clamp back on that. I hooked this line up on top right there, tighten that one down nice and tight with a new O-ring that came with the pump. This has got fluid above the cold full mark, because when it starts up, it's going to pump fluid into the system, take the air out, self-bleeding systems, but it's going to need extra fluid. So what they recommend you do is you crank it and then check the fluid, and crank it and check the fluid without firing it up. But I'm just going to fire it up real quick. I know that because this system itself is full, 90% full, because the rack's full, everything else is still full. I know that. So I'm going to fire it up for a few seconds, shut it off, and come check my fluid levels. After that, it should be good to go. And it shouldn't be making that awful whining supercharger sound like it was doing before. So let's check that out.